Welcome back to the LEC Koi versus G2 Esports.
Banger, banger, banger. G2 really kind of decisive game one, very bloody. A lot of action, a lot of different picks we haven't seen just yet in the LEC.
Yeah, very, very scrappy. Not a lot like a lot of the other games that we've seen thus far in the best of three, the group stage of the LEC. And see how Koi now want to adapt here. I think a bit of a tricky situation for them.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Drafting against G2 is a bit of a nuisance because most teams choose blue side nowadays, but red side, giving G2 red side, flexes get even a bit more complicated because then they can target ban on free picks. So,
well, it's difficult when G2 are in a position where they blind pick their support, in this case the Heimerdinger, and you counter pick. You get counter pick, you opt for the Leona, and you don't really get a lot done with it. That's got to be frustrating as you head into the next game's draft, and surely means it's a little bit back to the drawing board. It was not a very high impact early game from Malrang, Yike very much outpacing there, and see what Koi want to do. See if Koi are still going to prioritize the Jayces highly, because there's a world where if they don't take it, G2 do, even if it is to go into the caps in the mid lane. Yeah,
definitely. I think Szygenda's Jayce has been exceptional, but also the Malphite he's found success on. But I can see why Trymbi kind of started roaming around the map and abandoned bots, right? You're 2v2 top at level 4, turned into a shamble. You now have to cover all these top dives because they lose 2v2. Caps has this constant mid push, this looming threat of a dive as well. So you kind of have to sacrifice bot. And yeah, Comp is the loser in the end, and I kind of feel for Comp because he couldn't really get involved in this game. He kind of presses tab and he sees his mid-jungle support just kind of fighting to the death, has to catch waves constantly. Maybe if Koi can find a way to threaten through bot a bit more and maybe play a weak side top, that could change up the dynamic of how the game plays out.
Certainly could. Maybe support the bot lane a little bit. Matching G2 on the 2v2 and trying to get jungle support down there can be a little bit tricky, but you can see the mood on the side of Koi at least doesn't seem...
Comp looking in his mouse like, what more can I do? Can I get a third button on here?
I was alone Zeri in the bot lane. If I add a 6th button, will they finally let me leave and support the team?
Let me play League of Legends. I want to get involved in the RM. So they're on blue side now. Target man's coming in. There's the Draven. Maokai taken away from Yike. I feel like Yike kind of likes it when his solo lane say, I'll play an AD champ. He'll just find an AP carry to slot into it.
Certainly does. G2 prioritizing the Annie, the Recon. See if they want to ban the Malphite again, or if it's the Vi that they're more concerned about.
Yeah, there's the Malphite taken away from BrokenBlade and Caps now. We saw the same kind of ban from G2 as well on the blue side. I mean, even if Maokai's down, he's played Elise. We've seen his Gragas now. His Lilia was something which was a massive standout towards the start of the split as well. So last ban here for G2. What is their option? I think maybe a cannon ban actually. So the Jayce is up. I think G2 won't hesitate to pick that up. Wukong is up, Vi is up, Xayah is up. You've got all the ADs as well. So it depends on what they prioritize here. Just see if we can get. I mean, maybe Koi has two options here: index and bot, index on the top side of the map. Make it so the top side is more stable, or try to force a different dynamic in the game.
It's essentially
the Varus,
two choices. Yeah, it's the Varus or the Jayce. The Xayah is also up and available.
So they take the Jayce, it looks like. And that's going to be their plan of action. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up jungle and mid on the 2-3 as well. Sejuani feels like a pretty powerful champ. See if Malrang can get his hands on it, or if Yike wants to take that away. Does G2 have any flexes here on red side? Cassante is one that comes to mind, but not sure if that's something G2 want to look for.
How aggressive do they want to play too? Giving away the Varus is always going to be feels bad. They were really happy with the Gragas. It is still, a multi-role flex pick for the team. So in terms of not showing too much here, I think grabbing the Gragas again.
Yeah. Gragas
alongside the Varus. Easy first rotation for G2.
Keep it simple. Run it back from last game. Keep the Gragas flex. And Hans seemed very happy on the Varus. Can be flexible with the on-hit. Can be flexible with the poke. Now Koi, I think they need. I mean, they had decent engage last time. The question is.
Say it with me. Say it with me, Caedrel. Jarvan.
Malrang's Jarvan. Yeah, mobile
unstoppable
Varus.
When he ults. Can interrupt the Gragas ult. Immobile AD carry on the enemy team. This is Jarvan prime time.
Could be a Zeri Lulu here if they want to.
That would be indexing in the bot lane. That would actually just be sacking, really more than anything, mid lane, assuming the Jayce isn't put there, as well as jungle to just say that, hey, we want a premier priority bot lane. And Zeri, Lulu is still incredibly strong.
It is. I mean, there's the looming threat of something like a Blitzcrank coming out from Mikyx, a Thresh, a Nautilus, some kind of hook champ if you pick the Lulu here. Could go for something like the Ahri, but then Lissandra gets picked up on 3 by Caps. So G2 have answers to what Koi blind pick here, but they should keep the Jayce flex alive, I think, and match jungle here and then drop support. That'll be the easiest option. But no, they're going to go for the Lulu. So now does G2 pick up some kind of hook champ? There is 3 open, Nautilus, Blitz, and Thresh. They can leave it till 4 pick if they want to pick up a power pick here. But if they do that, they'll kill the Gragas flex and the 3 roles that it can go into on the top side of the map for G2.
Matching bot lane does not feel like a bad choice here for G2. It will mean that some of the solo lane champion pools get pinched a little bit more, and it's going to be the Nautilus now picked up. One of the hook champs that you talked about, and certainly one that Mikyx has made a name for himself on. Also, in general, I think just the most powerful hook champ in the meta. Blitzcrank a little unreliable, Thresh a little unreliable. Nautilus feels like you always get something out of the pick.
I think a Vi ban from Koi doesn't hurt too much, does it, when they're playing Nautilus against Zeri already? If they put this Gragas top or mid and play Vi jungle, I think the Zeri is going to struggle to kite in team fights when she's already got a point-and-click CC coming her way. Make it 2 with the Vi. There's the Jarvan ban onto Malrang. They know his champ pool. They know they want to shut down these
the second they can't pick Thresh anymore, the Jarvan becomes a threat. Taking that out. Yasuo now going to follow as well, taking away that combo. I think that does make a ton of sense there.
Yeah, Elise is still open as well. We'll see what G2 decides. I mean, they're happy. Just worst case, plan C, Gragas goes jungle.
Yeah, and I would really love to see an Elise in the hands of Malrang, something that can impact in the early game. It has been a bit hit or miss, a bit feast or famine, but what is the option going to be? Yone still in the rotation, could still be big here, with a Gragas potentially going to the jungle for G2 Esports.
There's the Vi ban, so they are just a bit concerned. From G2 actually banning the Vi. Interesting. They don't, I think it's because it's an early game jungler, right? Level 2, level 3 ganks can work on that champion. See what Malrang digs deep for. Maokai is taken away as well. That's another one that can find those early ganks. Lissandra is up, but I'm not sure if they want to play Jayce, Lissandra, Lulu. I think they need a bit more CC on their team.
Yeah, I think when you talk about what has been so successful across the last few days of games, it is still a lot of hard CC setup, a lot of reliable tools to start a fight. And Koi have a lot of strong champions on their team right now, but they don't have a lot of reliable engage or disengage tools. So G2 going to tease us a bit with the hover overs here, but would hope to see kind of maybe some utility pick in the mid lane. Wouldn't mind if the Vi had not been banned away, seeing something like a Lissandra Vi, potential mid-jungle duo, but Pantheon. It looks like Pantheon round 2.
Pantheon round 2, that might be BrokenBlades, could still be Capses as well. I think what they're saying here is we're going to put Pantheon into Jayce wherever he goes. No matter what, if this Jayce goes top or mid, Pantheon's going to match it. So Koi could double flex Cassante Jayce and say, well, it's a guessing game now. So what's Malrang going to go for? Wukong, yeah, one of the strongest junglers on the patch, is up. Doesn't have as much maybe lockdown as the Jarvan Vi or the early game that maybe Malrang would want, because it normally spikes towards level 6. Doesn't have that much skirmish potential in the early stages. But he is going to go for the Lee Sin. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough game for the Lee Sin. We'll see what he can find. I think they need more lockdown. Lissandra here or something blind would be doing them favors, but then again, Caps could go something like Sylas on 5. Ari could work pretty well.
This is an insanely hard Lee Sin game. There is no other CC to help with the setup.
Against Gragas Nautilus, it's a bit of a pain.
Nautilus auto, I mean, Pantheon could just input buffer the W, and anytime you try to come anywhere near that backline, you're going to get stunned. This is an incredibly hard game.
He needs setup. He needs something with CC, anything.
Lissandra.
Yeah, Lissandra. The problem with blinding Lissandra here is I think Sylas can go pretty well here for a G2. It's a melee champ. It's skirmish heavy. Put the Pantheon top, you know where the nice thing is going.
The nice thing is the second you have a Pantheon in your composition, you're not worried about being too AP heavy with the Gragas Varus. So yeah, you can.
Yeah, Cassio,
just opting for a Sylas.
Cassio, Syndra, Sylas, these are champs that Lissandra struggles against. Zoe being hovered would be a very poke heavy comp, not so much meta, but yeah, looks like they're gonna go for the Cassante mid for Caps.
They're smiling. They're laughing. Cassante.
Wow, so G2's comp very base damage heavy. Cassante, Nautilus, Gragas.
This is basically, there are two kinds of front lines. They're the front line that's so beefy that the enemy can't get through them, and the front line that does so much damage that you can't ignore them. And that, either way, Hansama is going to have a lot of space to work here. The name of the game for Koi is get into the back line, kill Hansama, outscale everybody else on the side of G2.
Yeah, G2's comp very similar to last game. If comp gets ahead on the Zeri, he's going to melt through everyone on G2. But of course, if the Gragas gets ahead, if they can just be very skirmish heavy in the early stages, the game can slip through Koi's fingers. They need to manage top side again. It fell apart level 3, level 4. They need to make sure top is safe. The problem they have this time around is there's no range support bots, so there's also a chance that, I mean, G2 flip the script and they go towards bot side anyway. So it's going to be a bit of a tough game for Malrang to juggle both these side lanes. See if he does any kind of late invades to mark as to where Yike will go in the early stages, but G2 currently 1-0 up in this series. Koi very meta standard comp, see if they can pull it back and get us to game 3.
Checking our eyes, waiting for Koi to show us more. So many Koi fans here in Berlin, ready to see a game 3, but can Koi fire back? Let's find out as we get into game 2.
for joining me. It was a similar approach to the comp, but I'm wondering, are you going to have a different approach to the game?
I think we're still playing, Pantheon Gragas in this game. We can be very aggressive, we can make a lot of plays. Pantheon is global, and Gragas has a lot of burst damage, so it's a bit different, but it's a similar game.
And what did you think of the draft from the side of Koi?
Well, we prepared a lot against, for example, Jayce picks, so I think that we were very prepared coming to this. I think that I'm liking the mid matchup as well, but they do have scaling, right? In these sorts of games, they can scale very well.
So how fast do you need to close this game out?
I guess it depends. Maybe like 20, 25, 30 minutes should be fine.
All right, well, maybe I'll be speaking to you in 30 minutes then. Thank you very much, Dylan. We're going to head to Drakos and Caedrel to cast this game.
I like it. Clear expectation setting for the people at home. 30 minutes. That's how long G2
It's got a hot date after 30.
Yeah. Or they're, I think mostly he means he's outscaled.
Yeah, I think the
Could
Zeri
also have a date. Don't know.
Yeah,
Not going to pry into
would
his personal life.
The Zeri would have 3 items at that point, and yeah, I think the...
It's also poke Varus. That is a comment on Hans-Sama, which when your entire, what could be your front line is going to be diving into the enemy backline, maybe
True.
You're kind of just going to need the range to follow up there.
It's very burst heavy, G2's comp, isn't it? Not so much like DPS, find space and hit. It's just throw everything
as
at
long
Koi
as
and
they
see
can
what hits.
one-shot people on Koi, their comp is good. The second they can no longer one-shot people, it's going to be very difficult.
It is. So G2 now contesting this early bot push. Yike and Malrang, different to last game. They're actually both starting top side now. I wonder if Yike's doing Raptors red Krugs into top gank. Looks like Szygenda might give up the push early as well and just allow his jungler to move towards bot. Looks like it's even for now, but he is giving up the push a little bit, giving BrokenBlade some space to work with, maybe afraid of getting ganked, knowing that his jungler is going to path down. And, I mean, they could set up for a dive. Malrang's going to get that. I wonder if they reset that Gromp. He's really late right now on the clear. Yike's going to finish his 3rd camp. Nevertheless, Larssen's just trying to get a little bit of mid push. Lissandra's just such a powerful pick for Lee Sin specifically. Anything with lockdown and CC, level 6, that's going to be a one-shot onto anyone.
Cap's trying to dash in there. A little bit of work, trade a little bit back here in the mid lane for now. Larssen leveraging that range advantage to get a lot of work done. Remember, this is the first K'Sante mid that we've seen in the LEC. If you've been watching internationally, you may have seen it elsewhere, but right now we need to focus on what could be a top dive.
Yeah, Yike sees blue is down, ward's placed, Gromp's down, Yike's, Malrang's bot side. BrokenBlade crashed the wave, Szygenda knows something's up. There, he'll see the barrel. Maybe he needs to call Larssen here. Let's watch Larssen on the minimap. Does he back away and get ready for a TP? Because Szygenda is under threat of a dive. Can he outplay this? He's probably close to leveling up.
Going in, back to the minion line, trying to clear a nice knockback from Pantheon. Immediately going to find the follow-up. Tanking the tower, has to flash out to safety. Clean plays coming out from Szygenda. They get both a BrokenBlade summoner. Szygenda's going to TP back to lane like nothing happened.
So Malrang actually started running towards top instead of invading the bot side jungle, so Yike might get away with murder here. They trade flashes, Ignite is down, yes. But he doesn't actually take away any camps. You can see Mikyx trying to scout us to see where the Lee Sin is, but he's not on anything. Pings will come through. They've lost nothing on the bot side for that, but Malrang is coming. It's a little bit late, and now Zeri is basing, so the timer is not great for an invade. Looks like the crab will do, and he'll move towards the rest of his bot side camps. You have to imagine Larssen getting low on mana means that they can't really contest his bot side jungle. He's going to have to base and TP back soon.
But credit to Szygenda, already slowing this game down significantly compared to the previous game. Larssen running out of mana, though, giving Caps a clear window of opportunity to get aggressive. Of course, K'Sante in mid, very similar to K'Sante in every other lane. It's just a shorter lane, and he does exactly the same thing otherwise.
Yeah, once he gets towards that level 6. I feel like K'Sante kind of catches you off guard at times when he like pushes you back, knocks you.
I mean, as a champion who literally goes from doing 0 damage to when he ults to doing a ton of damage.
He is, and he's going to be very, very tanky. All of this beefy front line. There's only one range champion on G2 in its hands, and he's going to be playing very, very far back because he knows if he gets kicked, they lose a lot of their damage source.
It also means that their siege is terrible. So if Koi ever get a Baron,
it's going to be rough.
This game's basically over for G2 if they get a Baron on good terms. But again, while their comp is on a timer, it is very, very powerful in the early to mid game if they can find some of these early skirmishes. Koi, I think, just really needs to be willing to play on the back foot here and weather the storm.
Ooh, Mikyx. I think he maybe tried to demat that range creep and then hook, but he was just out of range for the channel. It's very common on Nautilus when you have minion dematerializer to like demat the creep that they're hiding behind and then throw your hook. And if you buff them both at the same time, you can land it. I think he just missed it there. We'll see if he does it again on his bot side when his hook is up again.
Bit of poke coming in here. Hans-Sama trying to trade back, but Trymbi, quick trigger finger on the shields there as Caps getting more and more aggressive as the levels come through. You saw the first few levels very much going in favor of Larssen, but as we've gone further into this lane, now that Caps has a bit of additional MR, that things are going a lot more in his favor. Yike waiting in the darkness.
Yeah, Lissandra will win the extended trade, but Yike can stop him on the Q with his body slam and then just run away. But they both want this crab. Caps has mid push. He's a bit low on HP. Larssen's catching the wave, won't get level 6. BrokenBlade doesn't have the ult to collapse down, but because Szygenda based, they're gonna give this. And, pretty quiet early game. I think this is exactly what Koi want. As much as they're playing Lissandra Lee Sin and maybe they want to look for plays, their timer is at level 6, so they're happy just sitting and waiting now. The Lissandra has hit that break point where Malrang can now visit mid on any timer.
Definitely. Of course, some tools to mitigate the potential CC setup. President Casante's kit a lot of tools to mitigate the potential CC setup, so always have to give him that respect. But similarly, Caps is going to have a very hard time all-inning a Lissandra. Mikyx going to land the hook. Ignite now getting ticked down. Burning through his Trymbi as the cleanse comes out to try to cancel on Trymbi going down. First blood, the flash forward, full confidence response on Mikyx instantly going to flash in, follow up, but Comp flashing out to safety, meaning it'll only be a single kill.
Both flashes are gone. The heal was on cooldown for Trymbi, so Hans had full confidence to commit to that. Caps is roaming down here to see if he can stop Comp's base, stop him catching the wave, but Malrang sees him.
Waiting.
Calling Larssen here. Caps could be in trouble.
Caps in no man's land here. He can't really dash over the wall. He's going to have to use the ulti immediately if he wants to make it out to safety. Will not. Will just drop down here. Now going to ult Malrang back. Flash over the wall, making it out to safety. He's in mad lane. The body block. Yike, an absolute hero in this series. Now trying to heal up. Caps trying to get a bit more damage down, but there's the frozen thrall coming out. Yike gonna fall down here. Tried desperately to save his mid laner. He will not get a kill back. It is a double for Malrang.
That's exactly what Koi wanted. Caps getting a bit greedy there. Wanted to dive Comp, maybe stop his base. Nets kills for Malrang on this Lee Sin. 2v2 is only really gonna get stronger because this is a pre-level 6 Lee Sin. So he sees Caps, who's looking bot. Calls Larssen. Patience is really important there. He could Q him, but he won't have kill pressure. And Caps does a very good job in finding a way out. Most players will maybe run towards the top side here, but he realizes he has to go down towards the bot side, go towards his jungler as Larssen takes the claw up, expecting him to go that way. Yike stops Malrang on the flash auto, but then he threads the needle. Maybe Yike could have blocked this while Caps was getting the honey fruit. If he could, then Caps would live. Oh, look at that Q. Yike saw it come out and clicked down, but it just landed. That didn't land. There was a world where they could turn because Comp had to base. And Yike here has flash, but once the Gragas loses flash, he loses a lot of gank threat, a lot of kill threat. Tries to trade one, back, ends up falling.
Much better early game coming in from Malrang this time around. 600 individual gold lead, even on camps. In the previous game, it was 36 CS to 12 or something, very much stacked against him. But this Lee Sin, snowballing in the early game, perfect for Koi because they're not the team that's supposed to win in the early to mid game. They're the team that's supposed to outscale when you look at these compositions. So the fact that they have a lead, or at least dead even at this stage of the game, is massive for them moving forward.
Yeah, and he stopped. Putting their foot on the gas now, G2, so they're going to start up this dragon. Bot lane is winning, so Yike can always lean down here knowing that they'll have the push. Malrang's going to be very close to 6. He might level up on the creep if he smites it.
Kicking in.
But Caps is too far away. They're going to move now towards this dragon. Larssen's ult's up in 5 seconds. 4,000 health on this dragon. Comp and Trymbi trying to get
level
involved.
5.
Comp
going over the wall. Holding off on the ultimate for now. Gonna be happy with just the dragon, but here comes Larssen. Frozen claw over the wall, flash forward, immediately focusing down Mikyx. Mikyx, can he hook to safety? He cannot because the body block is there for Malrang. Larssen grabbing the kill as Yike again. Waiting in the darkness, trying to create a bit of space here. Caps off to the side. Ultimate just now coming out.
As much as G2's comp is early game focused, this Lissandra Lee Sin is working as a bridge, like a kind of something that can carry Koi to that later stage of the game for the Zeri Lulu, because they are just so powerful in this 2v2. It's hard for Caps and Yike to keep up. He's only level 5 right now on the Gragas. As much as G2's bot lane can be there first, Comp can kind of cheat that by jumping over the wall. And they don't turn it into a dragon, but they stop G2, slow the game down again. Yike's going to want to probably force that again. And here he goes. Is he going to start it up? He's thinking about it. Caps is trying to get the mid wave in.
Debating.
Looking on Larssen. He has the ult, can pull him back.
Unstoppable is going to pull him back all out there as Larssen desperately trying to disengage Caps. So much damage here, but has to be careful.
Q3.
The tower is going to try to get it. Now pulling away, needs to time the Q3 flawlessly. Is he going to get it? Yes, he is! Player of Caps' caliber, not going to make a mistake in that instance. Will find the solo kill onto Larssen.
Malrang will find Yike, see if he takes his Q. He's going to jump on top of him. Hans has the ult. Mikyx, not level 6 just yet. He can't commit to this. The 3v3 is losing for Koi on this bot side without Larssen being able to collapse to get that numbers advantage. But they're under threat of some kind of dive here.
Trymbi only level 5.
Yeah, BrokenBlade's running top. Caps has no flash. Maybe a bit greedy here for the plate. If Malrang can Q the creep and ward jump, he gets a kick in. Looks like Caps is
gonna go for the plate here. Gonna try to wander his way out, but Malrang gonna come over the wall. Blast cone waiting from. There's just no way out of this one. Caps tries to dash back in, but Malrang now on a killing spree.
There's the bot dive. Mikyx gets level 6.
Knockup coming in for Comp. Trymbi still only level 5. That's gonna be big, but an excellent polymorph to try to stop the play. It will, however, not be enough. He wants to go for another. The duck down comes is your time. Larssen with one reset. Explosion throw coming out. Hansama ready to turn onto Yike. His zombie form will not find purchase. And Larssen will only able to get one kill back.
Could have been disaster for G2. Larssen's ult was 5 seconds away as Yike flashed. Malrang will get converted into a Herald, seeing the enemy jungler on the bot side of the map. Maybe fishing for more here. Slow down the bases. Mikyx will just about escape. Will he spot Yike? He's just out of vision. We'll get the recall off. They didn't get the dragon, but they got kills onto Koi's bot lane. Maybe G2 have found a window to get kills onto the Zeri Lulu, but that's not going to win you the game. I feel like this Herald's going to do favors for Koi. Malrang and Larssen can then start to hover towards this bot side. They've already got their mythic items, and now they're putting the bot lane mid to avoid any kind of further disasters.
And G2's big point of strength right now is their bottom lane. You look between the two of them, 1,500 gold between Hansama and Mikyx, but it is the top side right now for Koi that is so incredibly strong, and it is so much more powerful in a game of League of Legends to get your mid jungle ahead than it is to get your bot lane ahead, at least in the early to mid game. Maybe it'd be a different case if they're playing something more scaling, but as long as Hansama is trapped in that bottom lane, he can't really impact the rest of the map.
Right, and that's exactly what Koi have done. We'll see it after this replay, because this is the forced dive. They know they want to walk up for the wave. Mikyx just got level 6. The ult, I mean, Comp can't really get away from this. Hook comes through, and he goes down. Larssen TP behind was fantastic. Nice knock by Yike to get Trymbi as well. 2 kills. Larssen answers onto Hans. Nice flash from Yike here. The Frozen Troll is coming through. The Q is off cooldown in just a second. Just out of range for Larssen. And then Malrang, you can see on the minimap there, just taking the Herald. But you can see the map here now. What they've done is they've taken the Herald, sent their bot lane top. Let's get away from this Varus Nautilus, then we don't have a losing lane. I don't think Comp will get any gold for this. Does it crash?
Gonna go through.
Oh, it just
crashed.
crashed. Hook missed as well. Yike didn't have the ult to follow up, and now they're going to do the exact same thing again.
Caps trying to rinse and repeat on the solo kill here. Gonna miss a little bit.
So watch the Zeri Lulu. They're moving away from top. They don't want to lane against this Varus. Looks like they're moving mid. Caps could be under threat. Doesn't have any Mercury treads. Very low tenacity here. The ult could come through. Should be an easy kill for Koi.
Top strikes, trying to find it up. Caps can ult someone to try to make it out safe. He's dashing it. He's going to go for the ult. The unstoppable back into the rest of Koi, though. There's just no way out.
It's a kill for Zeri. Now Malrang can escort his bot lane back top, catch that wave. Looks like they're only roaming for the kill, trying to punish Caps, overextending on the push there. And you can see Szygenda's pressuring BrokenBlade. This Pantheon hasn't gotten involved in the game. The ult's on cooldown. I wonder if he used that to get back to the lane. But this is really tough for G2, being down in gold. Down in neutrals, losing the Herald, no dragon stacking. You're relying on a poke Varus against Lissandra, Lee, and Zeri Lulu. That's not going to carry you across the finish line, so they need to start some more fights around the map.
Difficult thing to do, though, especially as the Lee Sin just starts to pull further and further ahead as their bot lane advantage starts to shrink a little bit on the back of that play on Caps going down to Comp. It's going to be a bit of a difficult game. Caps needs to... I don't know enough about K'Sante, but I'm going to say, based on my perspective of K'Sante mid thus far, Caps needs to chill just a little bit.
He's playing really aggressive, isn't he?
He's limit testing is the term I would use.
What Caps is doing, I think, is just fighting Larssen as much as possible to stop Lissandra from pushing in and moving around the map.
Yeah.
But the problem is, his jungle support can't cover him as well as they did last game because they're trying to play around this Varus.
Yes, and the other problem is Koi's bot lane is just coming mid.
And now the jungle support is mid. Now they probably realize, like Cap saying, I need some cover to stop this Lissandra. Try to suppress the Lissandra a little bit. But does that net you any plays? You know, contesting this mid push all the time. Last time you had the Sylas, you had the Yasuo, you could try to look for fights.
And despite the way the Caps is playing, Larssen is 5 out of 6 in KP. He's still been a part of all of these plays across the map. He's still making his presence known. So it's not really successful in terms of shutting down Lissandra overall. Maybe it's mitigated some of what could have been, but that's a hard thing to calculate, hard thing to take into account. So for now, Koi just going to continue to press their advantage here.
Yeah.
The last game, it felt like G2 were always one step ahead. This time, Koi have been trading even, and now it finally feels like Koi are the ones in the driver's seat.
They've swapped lanes as well. G2 have put their bot lane mid and said to Caps to go bot, but first tower will go over to Szygenda. He's getting really far ahead of this Pantheon. G2 need to do something soon. Are they going to dive bot? Are they going to look for the dragon? The dragon is good, but you're 15 minutes away from a soul, and Dylan said by 30 it's going to be a bit of a tough game.
It's 14, and it's a little bit of a tough game.
They're not going to commit to the dive. TP on Szygenda. Larssen's just kind of hovering around this entrance, seeing if they go for the Raptors, get a bit greedy, they can look to punish it.
And that is an out. Soul is always going to be important. Hard to say without knowing what Soul it's going to be. It won't be Infernal or Cloud, but Hextech Soul, high impact for any champion. Caps finally going to get Jack Show, so it will be that much tankier in the all-in against Larssen or anybody else. Right now, a bit of a quieter game, which, as we mentioned before, G2 the ones who need to keep the pace going. G2 the ones who need to force plays, so the slower the game is, the more that it feels like it is in favor of Koi.
Yeah, so BrokenBlade's pushing out top now. He's got the Eclipse. Would love to see him move towards mid, look for an ult towards mid bot side. Mikyx and Hans getting involved. Try to force a 4 or 5 man dive somewhere around the map, or at least get something out of Koi. You know, you can rinse and repeat. They all have sums up. Maybe if they can ult bot, get comp summoners, Trymbi summoners, and then do it again in a minute or two's time. But no, it looks like they're looking for Szygenda. See if he face checks this. He has no ward. That didn't get vision on the Gragas, did it?
Step, body slam forward from Yike, looking for an option. Instantly BrokenBlade coming with all, but they need to burn through Szygenda immediately, or Larssen's going to stop this play. It tracks the spear and will not connect. Comet Spear cannot find Szygenda.
Don't get greedy.
Powered shot glass blocked by the Aegis. We saw both sides walking away, but it's the flash and ignite down for BrokenBlade in exchange for the flash from Larssen.
Good protect there from Larssen, moving from mid, making sure his top laner is safe. The shock blast didn't give vision, but now Comp and Trymbi laning against Caps, who obviously will struggle in this 1v2. So it's Hans and Mikyx. They ran towards top. That's why Koi backed off. Now they're running towards bot, but Koi are going to back off. A lot of push and pull going on here around the map. Still, Pantheon has this ult. So waiting for them to look for something. I think maybe G2 are looking at the next Herald or the next Dragon to start a fight, because if the enemy team is playing this safe on lanes, eventually they might walk into an objective, and that's your next window of opportunity to start something.
Yep. And it is a bit concerning for the side of G2 just how far ahead Szygenda is. That's plates. That is gold. That is not kills or assists. That is just a lot of laning and, of course, a little bit of support to get that tower down on the top side of the map. But this is a massive, massive individual advantage. And while the Pantheon looked so good in game 1 when it was set up for success, when it was kind of spoon-fed kills in the early game, even when BB was falling behind in CS, it didn't matter because he could make plays. Well, now he's falling behind in CS and he cannot make plays. So this Jayce is going to be a terror to deal with, especially once it gets some armor penetration under its belt. Once it gets that third item, this is going to be very, very hard for G2.
So Yike's on this towards this top side. He sees that Herald's been pulled out, but Caps doesn't have TP yet. No one's hovering bot for the dive. Larssen has TP. He can cover this tower pretty easily. He's ready to respond at a moment's notice if G2 decides to take this fight, but they can't. So Herald will fall. 2 minutes on the next Dragon. If Koi take that Dragon, they can stall this game out as long as they want. They're happy, just sitting back, relaxing. G2 now hovering towards bot, diving the Lissandra is so hard. Self-ult, Jayce TP, the Zhonya's as well, so it's going to take way too much time to get the kill. That maybe Koi can cross-map. They can either defend the play, or they can look for a mid-tower. So G2 need to find a play that nets them a positive gold advantage.
But what is there even on the map right now?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? It really is.
Because there's no neutrals at this stage of the game. Baron's not going to be on the table even when it does spawn, because you just don't really have the damage to shred through it at this point in the game. Maybe once BrokenBlade gets Blade of the Rune King. But finally you have pressure mid. Now they can start to look bot lane. But already Koi, 2 members in the area, ready to respond.
Yeah, I think Koi are just good at, they're just playing really well at responding. I mean, all they need to do is get information, and they're just constantly getting information. How? Well, as long as Szygenda pushes top, they see Pantheon. As long as Zeri's catching mid-waves and is safe, they will see the Varus Nautilus. They just have to ward one side, and you can see the defensive pinks in their bot side jungle. Now Szygenda's moving down, just trying to contest a bit of mid-push here.
Shock blast, Comp immediately going to ult. Just trying to threaten Hansama, but Hansama not too spooked, not too scared. It's just going to walk away.
On the flip side, Koi can't really make a play either, you know? G2 can contest mid-waves constantly and move towards sides first.
Yeah.
The K'Sante is too tanky, the Pantheon's constantly catching waves and hovering in fog of war.
Well, and you have to be careful, because if you overextend at all against this composition...
Oh, here comes something, maybe.
Shift in favor of G2. Have they overextended here, though? Nice body block coming in from Malrang to make sure Larssen does not get chain CC'd down there.
That's what they wanted, just get the Lee Sin flash, get something out of Koi. Now on the next rotation of ults, maybe they can find a little more. Need to wait for that Nautilus and Varus ult to be up, but they won't be available for this next Dragon. Zeri ult will be on cooldown as well. See Szygenda pushing out top, moving down. Caps are swapped up there with the TP available.
Mikyx will just walk away.
He's trying to base to get his wards refreshed. You can see on the action bar of Nautilus, no wards, no pinks, no nothing. And they're all going to get swept out eventually. You can see Larssen has the sweeper ready. When he moves from that mid-wave, he can start sweeping them out. Then they can start threatening this bot tower. And they can start threatening the Dragon too. So Herald comes through. You can see pings on the minimap. Koi looking at a tier 2. I don't think they can look for... They'd be a bit greedy to go for tier 2, but maybe they're saying to G2, you're not doing anything, we're just going to keep pushing. Bit of game of chicken here if G2 wants to pull the trigger, and it's very hard for them to pull the trigger without the Nautilus ult. Not that much wave clear either. Looks like Szygenda's here to escort the wave with his bot jungle in. Crash is going to come through.
Over the wall. Crash does come in. G2 just going to accept that charge and walk away comfortable for now, but BrokenBlade clearing out that wave. Now maybe they can start to contest some of the vision around Dragon, but they don't have mid-prio either. This is a bit difficult for G2.
Yeah, Dragon's up, just like you talked about. Looking for something
Body slam forward. That's the play that they're waiting for. Spear now coming in, but Szygenda just flashes out to safety.
Yeah, BB doesn't have the flash. He can't get over the Raptor wall, so it's a flash-for-flash trade. Koi will get the Dragon. And so G2 looking for the mid tower, perhaps. Maybe they want to move up towards this top side and dive the Lissandra, but again, it's impossible to dive this Lissandra.
And again, I think that the thing is, when G2 had the lead in the previous game, their composition demanded that they play scrappy, that they keep forcing. Koi had the lead in this game, and they want to play it slow. So credit to them for having the discipline not to give any windows of opportunity to G2, because if you get sloppy against this composition, even with a lead like Koi has, it can fall apart. So while it's not maybe as scrappy or as flashy, the diligence that they have right now is what is winning them this game.
The worst part for G2 really is that they can't rush Nash either. They're playing poke Varus, full tanky top sides.
Maybe Blade of the Rune King Pantheon, but that's
no
a
way.
stretch.
That Nash is going to take forever. So you could see, I saw on the minimap a couple seconds ago, Koi were question mark pinging Baron. They don't have any vision up there, but I think they're confident enough to say, you know what, I don't think they have the damage. Varus showed on mid-wave, and now Comp's picked up the Infinity Edge. Larssen building towards his second item as well, maybe going towards Shadow Flame. And 3k gold lead over to Koi right now. Dragon Soul won't really be on the cards for either team. I think just Koi controlling this Baron, making sure they're safe. Wait for a couple more items on the Zeri, and happy days. But now you can see small spikes coming out for G2 as well. Frozen Heart, Eclipse Yomus for hands. No flash on Malrang. That could be their window. You know, as much as timing flashes is very, very common these days, if they can maybe ult flash Varus onto a Lee get a chain CC, kill Malrang, and force a 4v5 on a Baron, that's ideal. And this is buying it to them.
Caps off to the backside. Yike is going to body slam forward. Just threatening. Polymorph down. But Larssen on the flank.
Is so good.
Your eye on the claw. Here comes the path. He doesn't even take the time to do it. They're just going to set their eyes on the target. Now he's going golden. Buys himself a brief moment. Hook going to go through to the rest of the team. G2 just don't have the damage. G2 don't have the tools. And Koi will find another pick in their favor.
BrokenBlade's bots with no ults. It's a 5v4, isn't it? There's no way they stand a chance. G2 just don't have any damage. They can't get through a Jayce, Lissandra. Lulu ult is still up. Heals coming off cooldown. They'll get this bot tier 1. G2 wondering if they're going to go towards this Nash. I wonder if they are, but they don't have the Lissandra ult. Is it worth taking the risk? Is it worth saying to G2, we are going to force this, you have to come into us, when you could just stand here and watch them suffer?
Okay, Pantheon does have ultimate, and the observers have pointed out that he is recalling, so maybe there's a play to be made here for G2 if Larssen overstays on the top side. But Larssen, a very solid side laner. I don't think he's going to take that risk as we look back at this play.
A great positioning by Larssen. Doesn't even use the claw, just flashes, wants to go in quick now. Get the slow, get the triple root, pop the stopwatch to avoid the Gragas cask. Hands is off to the side. Gets zoned away by Malrang, who looks for the kill, but he gets rooted on the Q, so he can't follow up. Mikyx hooks in to try to protect Yike. He knows if his jungler falls, Baron's going to go down, so he has to sacrifice himself there a little bit. And BrokenBlade was bolt all the meanwhile. BrokenBlade really not being able to get himself involved in this game. He's close to that Blade of the Ruined King. Maybe that's the break point where he says, I can finally start joining fights now. I'm confident enough. I have some damage to provide to the team, because G2 need anything and everything right now.
Maybe. I don't know if Blade of the Ruined King is going to be enough, though. And of course, big damage output from Lissandra. Credit to Hans Sama in the previous fight. The Varus ultimate
could
slowed
jump
down
kick flash here. It's got a good position.
War jump kick flash. There it is. You call it. Boom. Alley-oop right into the waiting arms of Larssen.
Delicious, isn't it? Flash W on Lissandra is really hard to react to. If you W flash, it's a bit slower. Malrang, good mechanics there. It's a bit tricky because you need your mouse in the right position to land the ward after you flash. Baron force coming in. Yike is in the area. BrokenBlade has the ult. Baron's going down. 6k HP. They don't have Lissandra ult. They don't have Lissandra. They're missing a lot of lockdown. Caps can get some damage done here.
One was stolen before. Can another be stolen this time around? It's a polymorph. Gragas independent. 3k. It's getting lower, but they've not bursted it down. Now G2 just setting their eyes on the Baron. They need to burst through the objective. G2's kind of targeted to take a little bit of a scrappy fight here, but they will not steal the objective. They will not take the fight. They will not get anything. Koi wiping the floor with G2.
It's clean. Only Trymbi was under any kind of threat, and he manages to get out alive. Baron recalls coming in. That's the nail in the coffin. I think G2's windows, their time has ran out. Koi will do a victory lap in the next few minutes to close this game out. Hans is looking to cover. Maybe he can get a snipe here onto Szygenda. How much damage does this do? The Q.
Running in here. No fear. Still standing. Manages to get one, Hans Sama. So respectable effort here, but Malrang coming in just to finish the job.
Small shutdown, 7,000 gold lead now over to Koi. Dragons in 50 seconds. That'll be an easy exit objective, but now they really want to start pressuring, pushing the game forwards. They've been playing slow, calm and collected, punishing G2's openings, defending every single play that they looked for. And now they will start to look on these side lanes. Top tier 2 is up, mid tier 2 is up, but let's look at this again. It's a 4v5 from the get-go, but G2 just don't have damage. Yike's not as fed as he was last game. The Gragas burst is little to none, and the only target they can maybe look for is Trymbi. This is a fight where Larssen doesn't even have the ult, and he's kind of zoned away towards the bot side, doesn't get much done. Comp's under threat here, but then he gets over the wall, and once he's over the wall, that's it. G2 can look for the steal, but they lose the 50-50. Malrang's on point there, 1168 HP on a 1200 smite. Picks it up, and Cap tries to get away. Koi collapse and get that kill.
Caedrel, have you ever watched the Great British Bake Off?
No. Is that weird? Because I'm like
That is
British.
very weird. You undermined my entire plan.
You know what I liked? Do you know the Antiques Roadshow?
What?
Based. That's a
Are
great
you
show.
50?
That is a great show. Just sitting, come home from school, see some antiques, just hovering around.
I am so lost.
You just get.
How
You look
have you
at.
not seen Great British Bake Off, but you've seen Antique Roadshow?
Does that make me? Yeah, well, Antiques Roadshow is pretty. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty
You always
lit.
look at the item, you're like, I wonder how much that's worth.
And
it's
they're like $5.
Yeah,
You're like,
and you're
no
like,
way. And
no
they're like
way.
5,000. You're like, damn.
Damn.
Of course.
And then you look around your house and you're like, Mom, what can I sell that's worth 5,000, but
I
you
need
wouldn't
more
think is
Pokemon.
worth 5,000? I need more Pokemon
All right.
cards.
Well, I have to forget what I was going to talk about because Larssen's getting collapsed on and my metaphor has no more time.
There's a TP on
Larssen,
tier 2.
Can he sidestep here? They're buying
Watch Szygenda.
a lot of time. Goes golden this time around, doing a lot of damage back. That's the redemption. The knockback. Larssen getting a lot, and now here comes the cleanup crew. G2, absolute desperation. But Szygenda, might as well call him the finisher. Damn, he is just closing that out. Triple kill on the top side of the map. The court staff already knew it's over. They're not even sitting backstage anymore. This game is so over.
Yeah, Freddy's probably gone through the next draft of the game after he saw them get that Baron. He was like, that's done and dusted. Larssen smiling, Koi full of confidence now as they push forwards to get a game 3. They won't be able to end off of this, but yeah, they're going to break through the base. Tier 3 mid, tier 2 mid, tier 2 top. Everything is gone. G2 so far behind in gold, so far behind in levels, and they are completely out of time.
It's like Koi gonna reset one more time. Okay, so here's how it works. Caedrel, you ready?
All right, hit me.
Never mind. Replay.
Replay.
Let's talk about it. Larssen.
So watch the mini-map here. You can see Szygenda TPing to the tier 2. He's saying, Larssen, buy as much time as you can, buddy. Pops the ult on the initial body slam. Zonya's, and then he's gonna flash the next body slam. The root didn't land, but the knockback was good. Szygenda comes in, easy 3 kills.
Yep. Clean setup.
Trymbi's here just to spectate.
Larssen kind of, you know, given his life so that Szygenda can look even better. 5-0-5,
cause.
5K individual gold lead. This is a just a bit of a diffy in the tiffy here.
Yeah, I feel like the Pantheon pick is like the first game is Pantheon on enemy team, and the second game is Pantheon on my team.
Okay, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna teach you about Great British Bake Off.
You're gonna teach
how
me?
it's gonna work. The
Okay.
final challenge is called the Showstopper, right?
Sounds like a WWE slam dunk.
Yeah. It basically is, but like baking.
Okay.
And you have to make the coolest thing that you can in a very short amount of time, right?
But
someone always is like, I can make the 20-layer cake, and they can't. G2 are trying to make the 20-layer cake. Koi said they're going to make the 3-layer cake. Now, if G2 had succeeded in making the 20-layer cake, there is no doubt that they would have won this showstopper. But Koi said, you're dumb, and that is not a good choice with your 20-layer cake.
I don't even know if they got the 3 or 4 layers. That thing fell apart at the get-go.
Yeah.
How much time do they have? 30 minutes?
4 hours. G2 did not even give themselves. They got 30 minutes.
Yeah, they're 25, really.
It's like the training weights. You know what I mean?
Don't let them cook, G2.
Don't let them bake.
Don't let them bake.
This is a baked comp. There are cooked comps and there are baked comps.
Do you use an oven if you bake? You do, right? So that's is baking cooking?
Yes.
Okay.
You use an oven if you bake.
I've never baked. Shocked?
No. No, not in the slightest.
I'm good at making pasta, though.
Yes, you are. I can attest to that.
Did I make you pasta once?
Yes, you did.
Was it good?
And breakfast. Yes, you did. Or yes,
Hell
it
yeah.
was.
There it is. Caedrel can cook.
Yes. G2 can also cook, but sometimes
Yeah.
they bake or they cook too much, whatever you
Kitchen's
prefer.
on fire right now for G2. The question
yeah.
is it one of those things where it's like, we'll get him in the next game, go blue side, just run it back, same draft, and hope the game is similar to
that episode
game
of
1?
Kitchen Nightmares where that person is just like buying... Never mind. We're getting too deep.
Kitchen Nightmares is my
I'm
jam.
getting more lost in the sauce than G2 is right now in these drafts.
Pulling up all these shows out of nowhere. I just
This
watched...
game is very over. It will take an actual executional mechanical miracle for G2 to do
I
anything
think you need
here.
a couple more adjectives there.
Yes.
But
Impossible.
impossible.
Kim possible.
Hovering towards his top side. Baron's up. Just 4-man stack in a bush. Have a sip of your water.
Yep.
Have a little chat and then hope to God you can steal it. But good night, sweet Prince BrokenBlade.
Ooh, BrokenBlade. They're gonna walk him down now, just very slowly. He's gonna fly. I don't think that saves him. He's just gonna E over the wall. Not even gonna E over the wall. Good night, sweet Prince.
Oh, the move speed from the E.
Damn.
Guys, can you go Baron? Guys?
This is a very different interpretation of 300. Leonidas kind of stood his ground. This guy's just kind of running.
He's not a god, he's merely a human. He's a warrior, but now he's dead, so it's not going to be very useful in this next fight.
Yep.
Koi's going to go towards the Baron. Malrang smells hands in the area looking for the kill. Szygenda's just farming some DPM. And G2 needs to stay around this Baron, but I don't think there's a chance really, is there?
And I mean, G2, this is, if there was any way for them to come back in this game, it would involve stealing a major objective with an objective bounty, like this Baron. That said,
This is
it
all
would
you.
really be a mistake from Koi that would open that up for them.
This is Yike's moment. The shining factor, the comeback, the steal, the Gragas, the burst.
Belly big cask is ready.
I want to see the Malrang Q, war jump, kick, Q back, smite, refuse to
Larssen
elaborate, disappear.
TPing into mid lane.
That's what I want to see. Misses the Q, doesn't
Pump
happen.
over the wall. Yike already has E'd away. It looks like this play's kind of dead.
He doesn't
Yike
have
on to
flash
cool
either.
down back up.
Throw the
Now
ult.
Caps off
Throw
to the
the ult.
side. Yike 3K's getting lower. They kick him back into the pit. Now they want to burst the objective down. Yike, can he get any? Can't. The cask. It will not work. There is no opportunity to fire back as Yike is just about dead here. Szygenda just fishing over the wall. That wall really the only thing keeping G2 safe. It's not even keeping G2 safe. The wall will not keep them safe. G2 getting slaughtered on the opposite side of the pit. Comp not even getting taken down by Caps. The entire squad is there to shut that play down. The TP coming into the mid lane.
BrokenBlade's on the run again. Every time he comes out of base, he's being chased, man.
Live, die, live again. Die again.
Ward hop? Nope. Malrang's missed a lot of Qs in that Baron fight. Looks like me on Lee Sin at this point, but that one was blind, so I'll forgive him for it. Doesn't even go for BrokenBlade. He's going to recall, and that's going to be that. I think we knew this game was pretty much over after 15-20 minute mark. G2 really didn't have a way back in after the first Baron. Koi will close it out. Yeah.
Did not get sucked in. Did not give away advantages. Played such a good mid-jungle game. Malrang and Larssen popping off. Szygenda on the top side as well. We head to game 3. A dominant performance from Koi.
Didn't miss a beat. G2 love the early game playmaking, but you can see when they don't get a lead, it just becomes even more difficult. That Lissandra pick was huge in just being able to sit under the tower, saying, you know what, dive me. And then they can't. So, well, there goes your plan.
And I'll be honest, I was surprised when they opted for the Malrang Lee Sin. But with that Lissandra pairing in the mid lane, it looks so good. It's flashing, it's reminding me of Koi week 2.
Oh, they're going to say Miley's. Go, Karen.
Okay, it reminds me. Sure, whatever. I don't have enough time to make my point. It reminds me of your Lee Sin, Caedrel.
Oh,
That's what I was going to say. Let's send it over to the post-match to hear more about Malrang's Lee Sin.
We said we're going to play Lissandra.
I don't know.
Lee Sin
I actually don't know what
queue.
you're going to talk about. I'm sorry. I just set you up for failure here. Talk about whatever you want, AD.
Baby, well, baby,
Oh,
we're
that
gonna
was on the
talk
air
about.
tonight.
Oh, I can still hear them. Or was it you?
That was me.
Oh, okay. We are gonna talk about Malrang's Lee Sin. We actually gonna have Lee Sin joining us, I believe, too, in just a bit. And you know, when we got into this match, and I want to say especially after game 1, you know, you're starting to think, will this be another, G2 just calls it a day and has an easy 2-0 or what then? But Koi has had G2's number in the past, I want to say, in best ofs also, right? In recent memory. So I'm really happy to see that they approached the second game this way, Laure.
Yeah, I was, okay, not gonna lie, I was confused when I saw the draft that Koi pulled here, especially when you think of the Lee Sin and the fact that you want to pair Lee Sin with the Lissandra and find these early skirmishes and these early picks. And you know that usually when G2, when G2 get a lead in the early game, they usually don't let it go, but we saw here that it just wasn't the case. And sometimes when G2 is cooking, they're going to burn the kitchen. And for me, it was the case of burning the kitchen here today. But
we all hated the Lee Sin, though. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I mean, you're not
hated it.
You're not supposed to play Lee Sin in a composition like this because you're like, if the Q lands, how are you going to be able to follow up? And I'm really impressed by the fact that Koi has been able to function this mid-jungle duo, especially in the early game, and taking advantage of Cab's being interesting this game, if I may say.
But I also just think Koi was so much better than what we saw from regular season. You know, Szygenda, when he was getting dove in the beginning, just actually fought away the dove in a 1 versus 2. In the mid lane as well, Larssen, yeah, he got solo killed 1 time, but he was actually really good when he finally had that priority to move it elsewhere on the map as well. And the fact is that the picks from Koi was what made them come back into this game, finding it. At first in this play, it really looks like Caps is getting away. Yike doesn't really want to block the last Q, and Malrang could just get in there. But it was it was Malrang and Larssen really doing a phenomenal job this game to pull Koi back into it.
I mean, that's the thing. It's mechanical misplays on the side of G2, but you have to be opportunistic, I want to say, on the side of Koi, and being able to pick up on these mistakes and create and find advantage around them. And to me, this is where the mid-jungle of Koi has been really smart here, because they have been working around G2 making mistakes, but also they've been acting around the map to find opportunities themselves in the early game.
Yeah.
And don't let me ever hear again from an analyst that this draft shouldn't work because X or Y.
He had no
because
clip.
at least in Smurf this game.
He had no clip. That Maokai clearly just, Malrang clearly just had no clip this game with the way he was playing it. Like, he found the angles. I think this VoD of specifically, where Hans actually has all his summoners up still, sets it up perfectly with the alley-oop into the ultimate afterwards. You're right. And I think it's not so much the fact that the draft couldn't have been hard to play, it's the fact that Malrang actually defied it and through his own skill level actually raised the bar of what you could do here. I have been very critical of Malrang's Lee Sin in general in the regular split. I thought it was weird and not really the champion that you would usually see from Malrang because you didn't have that early avenue to gank and help your laners. But this time around though, they made it work and they did it against G2 after they had struggled so much and especially in game 1. So really impressive by Koi.
And even Malrang in general. I mean, we've been talking about his listen, but to me, the fact that Malrang was underperforming in the regular season in general and not being able to impact his laners in the way he was able to in the past was what didn't help Koi finding these wins and these opportunities that he could in the past. But when you see Malrang being able to display this type of level, this is, to me, what's going to set up the team the best and give them the confidence that we were talking about before.
Yeah, I think you saw it rising throughout that game. Everyone had a phenomenal game. Frankie said something just before we came to the death, and she said, I think Koi played better than G2 did in game 1 in their win. Koi played better League of Legends in game 2 to get their first win of the series. What do you guys think?
I think it was a different kind of League of Legends because G2's composition kind of thrived in the chaos that was created with early skirmishes. Which they still played to their win condition, but if you go by the book and the way that it was also played by Koi here in game 2, yeah, you can totally see it. There wasn't the same kind of small individual mistakes. Yeah, there was a flop here and there, but it was a quite clean gameplay by Koi.
It was a really clean game, but also on the side of G2, for me, when you fall behind in composition like this, Pantheon is going to be useless because is not going to have the impact that you expect from him. So yeah, Koi has been more clean in the sense that they didn't make the mistakes G2 made in their game, but also it was hard for G2 to come back here.
It was, and that's, I don't know if that's something we see regularly. I mean, G2 isn't the end-all, be-all. Does it happen often that you say, you've actually not given yourself a lot of win conditions in this, you're going on confidence that you're going to be able to pull it off?
For me, that's the thing. When you're a team like G2 and you have the confidence to pull this wacky pick, as we said, and we don't want to call them like this, is the fact that it can backfire. And if it backfires, do you have the tools, the necessary tools, to still grab the win in the end? And for me, when I look at a composition like this, you have 2 narrow win conditions for me to make it work. So if you're not successful in the early game, then the rest of the game is going to go like this.
And they picked blue side, so they are going back. Guldborg, what are they going to give us?
Well, I think they're going to continue to give us flex picks. Blue side is just where you get so much value into the flex picks, because when you go into the second ban phase,
Thanks,
it's like
Captain
Gragas,
Obvious.
you're just like, well, you don't really know what. Well, you asked, and I supply. The answer is simple.
Tell me what you want. This is a better question, actually. Tell me what you would like to see as both a response to what we saw from Koi and what they were able to do, even with, like, I want to say quote-unquote basic draft, right? But a good draft, a solid draft, but a normal draft in that regard. What would you like to see for both sides in order for them to take the series?
I would still love to see Winter Yike come out as well. Like the fact that this Gragas will probably suddenly be put into top side or mid lane, and you start playing towards Yike as well. Give him some resource in the jungle. We just saw Malrang take it away a bit. I would love to see Yike have his impact on the map, move it down towards the bot side as we saw so much earlier. Because I really miss that gameplay, and it's so exciting and high octane to see.
What I really, really want from the side of G2 is no specific fix per se, but just for Caps to play a bit more methodical League of Legends, I would say. That's my only wish.
I mean, we still have a little bit of time, but they're going to be talking about that for sure. And, you know, there was a time where we would always say that Caps would always get the upper hand over Larssen, but we can't say that anymore because history has proved us wrong in that regard. The question is, how is it going to turn out today? Also, the happy games is not something we want to see, usually, when it comes to looming international tournaments.
I think as well, like from a draft adaptation, you can get rid of the Jayce instead from the side of G2. Now that you're not really forced to ban the Annie yourself, deny that from Szygenda. That has really been comfort for him, not just in today's series, but also in some of the other ones. And I think it buys Koi a lot because you get this reliable guy you don't need to put too many resources into, who scales really well into the mid to late game. For Koi specifically themselves, there's no point in trying to fully predict what G2 is going to cook out here in the source and whatever we want to call it. I think the best way you can do is just what they've done already. Go for what they rely on in some of the combat picks. If it's the Zeri for the combat, put resources elsewhere on the map with Trymbi, go for it because it seems to work for them.
That's something we hear very often from coaching staffs as well, not just versus G2, but in general, focusing on your own strengths and what you think will be the most well-rounded comp when you see the other draft come out from the enemy team. When it comes to that top lane, I think it's really interesting, and I think we are continuing to follow kind of the story of not the top laners in general versus LCK and LPL top laners in the future, but also specifically towards this matchup, someone like BrokenBlade, who has been under the magnifying glass, I want to say, by a lot of people because of what's coming, right? So where do you guys stand on it?
Well, I think BB for sure is a good top laner, and I think he should get credit for being a good top laner. But do I think he's better than the Asian top laners? No, not really in that regard. But I also think
Think he's better than Szygenda?
Yeah, I think so. But I think that's fair. Like, I think Szygenda is incredibly good in the top lane as well. I think I think both top laners here. Sometimes when you check, it's like, oh, they're finally doing it, and they're getting praise. But most of the time, I actually see them get a lot of flag. And I think in their own right, they're both good top laners.
I think Szygenda would have the potential to become better than BB if the time comes for him. For now, I think Koi is not solid enough for him to shine in the best way. But when you look at the new patch and the picks that he could be able to play, for instance, I'm thinking of these AP champions that I have seen him play in the past. This is what I want to see him on.
Yeah, because we've seen the big performances on the tanks. We've seen the big performances on the Jayces, but what else is there? Maybe we find out in Game 3. Who will win our match of the week? We'll find out after the break.
Unstoppable is going to pull him back all out there as Larssen desperately trying to disengage. Caps so much damage here, but has to be careful. He goes near the tower, is going to try to get it. Now pulling away, needs to time the Q3 flawlessly. Is he going to get it? Yes, he is!
I'll ward on him, wait. Should go, no?
I'm going not.
Okay. Careful, Gragas, Gragas. Play for Zeri, Zeri. I will not yell.
I'm going to start up.
I will not yell.
Shut the f*** up. Don't do this when I play.